because I believe every woman has a story to tell. And we all have so much more in common than we think. These are the women next to me.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Women Next to Me. I'm super honored to be sitting to this beautiful woman next to me. This is Melissa, and I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit, but her story is definitely one that needs to be heard. I think a lot of people are going to really just love what she has to say, and the beautiful human that you are. They're going to just really connect with you. So, and I'm really excited to put your story out here. So do you want to tell me a little bit about who you are, who you're a mom to, what you do?
Yes, totally. I am Melissa Sogavo. I am a mom to 4 boys. They are 13, 11, 8, and 5. They are full of energy. They are moving all the time. They're crazy and I love them. They're awesome. They hug me all the time, and that's one of my favorite parts. And what do? I am currently a full-time graduate student at Adler University. I am pursuing my art therapy and counseling licensure, and I'm really excited about that. I am also interning at a place called the Justice Beat Talk Show in St. Louis for a social justice practicum. And I just landed an internship for next year at a creative arts therapy counseling location. So that's really exciting. I'm also a coach and I run marathons, and that's all I can think of for right now.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That was a really good list. And I didn't know some of those things. That's so cool.
That's awesome. Good. Yay. Thank you.
Okay, so we always talk about our favorite mugs. So if you want to take a second and share your go-to mug.
Here it is. I feel like it's like this, I don't know, show and tell. Here we are. So it says True Ave. This mug was made in Papua New Guinea, which is where my husband is from. And it's also where we lived as a family for 5 years overseas. So it's very special to me. I love it.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
Thanks.
All right. So without further ado, we are going to jump in. So you mentioned that you lived in Papua New Guinea with your family. You guys lived there for 5 years, which I remember when I found out you guys were moving there, I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Kind of like, what is she doing? But also like, good for them, like to do what you guys want to do. And that's who you guys were true to as a family. So talk to me. How old were the boys when you guys only had 3?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had 3 boys at the time. That was 2013. So that was 7 years ago now, almost 8. Yeah. And we had the 3 boys, and my husband got a job over there. So he's from New Guinea. We met in college. We actually lived in New Guinea for about a year, came back, worked for a number of years, and then we'd always talked about going and living in New Guinea to work and to really impact people, to just be people of service. It's a subsistence farming country. It's honestly full of domestic violence, AIDS. It's a rough place in so many ways, and it's also really beautiful. It's full of gorgeous mountains, and it's just north of Australia, right in the Pacific Ocean. And so it's really this kind of wild place to be and to live. Anyway, I could talk for a long time, but yeah.
So you guys met at Judson.
Yes.
How did he end up there?
Okay, so the short story is he was one of the first Papua New Guineans to attend a Christian missionary school that was built on his grandfather's land in the Eastern Highlands province of Papua New Guinea. He went there to learn English. His dad wanted him to learn English. Neither his mom or his dad went to school. Neither of them read or write. And they learned how to develop a business from the missionaries that lived there. So Bizo went to school, learned English, got to be great friends with the missionary kids that he went to school with. And one of those families really kind of took him in as their own. He lived with them in their dorm with some other missionary kids, and they decided to bring him to the States on their furlough year. So he came over his junior year of high school, and had never gone on a plane, had never done a lot of things, like had never been exposed to the Western world. So that was a big deal. I remember him saying, I remember him riding or telling me the story of riding through Chicago and just looking up at the skyscrapers and being like, I have no idea where I am. Like, what is this place? Because he had never seen buildings that big before. He was used to,
Like,
yeah, grass huts, and that's what he grew up in. So, anyway, man, I could talk forever. So I don't even know if I answered your question. Oh,
you guys are in Papua New Guinea with your family, 3 boys.
yeah. So basically, he got a soccer scholarship to come back for college. So he did his junior year of high school, went back to New Guinea, senior year there, graduated, and then came back to go to Judson University, where he and I met because I was a student there as well. Yeah, and then we dated, got married in 2005, and then went to New Guinea in 2013. He was working for a fruit jam production company called Live Lave, and they also make wine and honey. He was the production manager there. And I was an art teacher at the missionary school where my kids also went and where Bezo grew up. And I did that part-time and then took care of the kiddos. So yeah. Tell me what you want to know next.
So you guys are there. Thurston is added in, and I know there was a little bump in the road before Thurston too.
Yes. Yeah, I lost a baby. Yep.
Yeah. Because I think that it was actually you and I did maybe at the same time, even like it was really close.
Yes, I feel like I remember that too, but it's this like loose memory. That would have been because Thurston was born 2015. So I lost Oliver. He was 24 weeks in 2014.
Okay.
Like the year prior.
Okay. So that was when Knox was born. And so then mine was probably 2012 or 2013. So maybe a little bit before, but similar situations that we were second trimester. And
yeah.
I was here and you were there, and I can't imagine like.
Yeah. You're just not expecting it. And that I mean, I don't even know. You can ask me more questions. Sometimes it like,
You guys are so you guys are then now a family of 6 there.
Yes.
I mean, I know this is not easy to talk about, but
no, that's okay. Yeah.
What happened next?
Yeah. So let's see, in 2017, so we had been there for 5 years. It was early December, and Thurston was 1. Nope. Yeah. Well, he was he would have been turning 2 in that September. Anyway, he was tiny. My husband was a soccer player and a rugby player, and so he was playing in a tournament with other men, missionary men, and they were playing their final game against the senior soccer boys from the high school. There often are not teams that can dependably show up for a tournament just because of either the road is washed out so they can't get there, or people don't show up, that kind of thing. Just a common thing in a third world country. So the tournament was against any of these guys that would come out and play that were missionaries. So my husband jumped into the game, and we were really close with the missionary community. In some ways it's hard to explain, but I'll just do my best. Like we went to church on the mission base. We went to the clinic there. That was where we got our health care. Our kids went to the school. So we were just super involved there, if that makes sense.
You're not missionaries, even though you went there,
Yeah.
considered like the missionary part of that group, but you were obviously heavily involved with that group, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And we lived right across the street from the mission base. So we didn't, yeah. So we weren't missionaries. We didn't live on base, but we were super close and super involved, if that makes sense. Yeah. And it was a great relationship just to be able to be like in the community and really connected to Bezo's family and kind of those local villagers, but also have that support of the missionary community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so one day in early December, December 7th, my husband went to go play in this game, and we were watching the game. It was a rainy day. My boys and I were all watching, and he had said to me before he went to play, hey, I don't feel so good. And I said, oh, are you sure you should play? And he's like, yeah, I think I'll be okay. I said, have you had water? Yes. Have you eaten something? Yes. Yeah, I'll be fine. And I said, okay. All right. Well, have a good game. I love you. I love you too. Kiss, kiss. Off he went onto the field. And that was the last time that I got to talk to him because he um, just unexpectedly fell over on the field while he was playing. He just kind of threw his hands up and went back. And I actually didn't even see him. I kind of saw him as he was going down at the end of the fall. And I thought that he had blown out his knee because his knees had been starting to bother him just from sports. And he was a roofer for many years. So I didn't think anything of it. But the doctor, my kids always tease me because I get this detail wrong. The doctor was either refereeing or playing, but I can't remember which one. But the doctor happened to be on the field. And he was summoning me over. And so I ran over and quickly realized that he was not okay. It was not just a knee injury. The thing that I remember most about that moment is just that, when someone gets hurt in a game, they go down and then people rally around them and they're either like carried off the field or like they hop off the field. Well, in this case, no one was moving my husband, and everyone on the field had not left the field. Everyone just froze. And so I looked at my husband. He was basically, I mean, I could share details, but he was breathing in an odd way, which I know now is called agonal breathing, and it's what you do before you die. I didn't know that at the time, but I could tell that it was not okay. And I looked around the field and no one would look at me. And not because they're mean, but because I think no one knew what to do. And I just remember feeling, just fully filled with fear. And I made eye contact with one guy who would look at me, John Michael, and I just looked at him and I was saying in my head, I am so scared. I don't know what to do. I didn't say any of that out loud, but John Michael came over and just put his arm around me. And then it was just a flurry of activity. At one point, I just turned around because I didn't know what to do. I wanted to go to him, but I was scared that I would somehow, I don't know. I didn't know what was happening, and it was awful and horrible. So many details, but one of the nurses ran and got a vehicle. The clinic was just up the hill, but they needed to get him on a stretcher to do, to start CPR, to get him up the hill to go to the clinic.
He was Like, it's not like it was somebody small to take up. I mean, he was an athlete and he was a, you know, like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he was an athlete. I mean, he played rugby in New South Wales, Australia, like semi-pro rugby, and played, college soccer, and was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the things, but he was a great athlete. Yeah. He was 41 at the time. So, like he's getting a little older, and but just no expectation of anything like that. He had a heart arrhythmia, and we knew that. But he had fainted from it once in college and had not had trouble with it since. And so we just we didn't know. We didn't, I know now that we could have sought, medical treatment, and he could have had a defibrillator put in, but I didn't know that then, and neither did he. So it is what it is. So, yeah, so they took him up to the clinic. I went with a friend who sat with me and prayed. We sat on her floor, and she just prayed, and I prayed, and I don't think I did much praying. I think she prayed and I cried. And yeah, I mean, there's so many things I could say, but basically, they worked on him for about 45 minutes, which is much longer than they really needed to. But again, these folks were our friends. It wasn't like a normal, like, you go to the hospital and you kind of like don't know people, but you're just there for this clinical transaction. It's like, these were our friends. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so the doctor came to the house that I was at, which was just across the street from the clinic, where I was waiting with the friend and praying. And I had, when we were in the car driving up the hill to the clinic, I just remember I think in those moments of like shock and trauma and like things you're not expecting, you just like things come out of you. So what I remember doing is I remember putting my arm up and just saying, Jesus, Lazarus, Jesus, Lazarus. And I just, my cry was like, do you remember Lazarus? Like, do you remember that you raised him from the dead? Like, can we make sure that that's what happens in this story too?
Yeah.
So the doctor came and he made me look at him. He said, look at me, look me in the eyes, Melissa. And he held my face with his hands. I think because he wanted to make sure that I knew, that I understood what was happening, that it was a clear moment. And he just said, Melissa, we worked on Bezo for 45 minutes. We have no heartbeat. He is no longer alive. Bezo is dead. Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's like it always feels like a slow motion movie. Like when I'm retelling the story, everything slows down.
So many memories that are in your head that are just probably impossible. That'll always just live there. That you're never just gonna, get out, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you have 4 beautiful boys that are just a testament to who you two were together, and but still, I don't know.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, fast forward. I mean, you
Yeah.
move here, you move back, you're back in the States.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward through that part of, I can't even imagine how difficult that was to take that final plane ride, and maybe not final, but that plane ride, away, and
Right. Right.
um, that was probably a moment too of, and
Yeah.
so your boys are here. Are
Yeah.
they seem to be acclimating well for the most part? I know it's probably a
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I would say is that it's been, 3 years of um fighting for the courage to be alive, And I don't mean that I haven't wanted to live per se, although that was part of probably ins and outs of initially that first year. But what I mean is, I think it's hard to have hooks in life, that are invested with desire and like care and excitement and joy when A, you've lost your best friend, B, your spouse, C, you move, from this life. We were in the middle of building a house on the top of a mountain. He was building me an art studio where I was gonna paint and we were gonna raise our children and like serve the least of these. And this was like our vision for our lives. Like we were doing the thing that we had dreamed of, which I think a lot of people don't get to do, um, and then it was just over. So I would say that I have just had to work my tail off, is what I want to say, to figure out a way to gain traction again and say, okay, this is worth doing. Like it's worth getting up every day. I'm going to find a new trajectory. I'm going to find something else to be excited about. Um, and I would say there's a lot of parts of that. I think, support. I think, obviously loving community, loving church family, financial support from so many, counseling from me and my boys. So I would say that we are doing really well. And yeah, we're doing really well. And it's been really hard. And both of those things are true.
Absolutely. Yes, you can have those truths and be one and the same. And absolutely. So you are moving forward.
Yeah.
Not always easy. Every day, I'm sure, is different. What are things that you are doing right now to honor him? Can speak your truth to people, help people that maybe are in similar situations as you? What's going on?
Oh, you're so awesome. Oh gosh. Okay. Again, I could say a million things, but what am I doing to help other people, specifically in this situation? So about a year into the law, after losing him, I was struggling so much. And I reached out to someone I didn't know, a grief coach that I saw on Facebook. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to call this lady and see what she has to say. It's probably weird and stupid, but I'm just going to do it. And it was the best decision that I ever could have made because she walked with me through some of the hardest pieces of that loss. And she helped me get to the other side. That is what I would say. And I don't know if I would have gotten there without her. I mean, I hope I would have maybe eventually, but I think it would have taken a lot longer. She helped me really examine my thoughts and my heart and my beliefs about myself, because really the reality came down to, do I believe that I still have a life to live without Bezo and without New Guinea, at least for the present moment? We plan to go back eventually at some point, even if just to visit, but am I still valuable? Am I still worth something without this person? And the answer is yes, 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 yes. And I think I knew that, but I don't know that I believed that. And I think that can be a common belief in a lot of us when we get married. Like we kind of put a lot of value into that person that we're with. And so it's been like a giant journey. I have a million things that I could tell you, but so I have become a certified coach because of that, because I want to help other people through that. So I'm becoming a therapist and a coach. They're kind of like cousins, if you will. And I think we need both at different times in our lives. So that's why I'm doing both. So that's one of the things I'm doing. I'm launching a women's coaching group in May. And I'm really excited about that. It's not just for widows, but I love talking to widows and especially young ones with kids because it's my story. So yeah, I mean, both of those things are really kind of where I'm putting a lot of my energy in terms of, helping other people, wanting to just help other widows like get to the other side. So
And
yeah.
nobody can understand what you've gone through unless you've gone through it. And so what other person to like sit like you can be that person that walks alongside of them and helps them through. And I love that so much because I'm sure that it means a ton to them to know that it's not just lip service, that you literally have been there and are still, I mean, it's not like it's like been there and done that. It's like been there and still going. So, and you are so
Totally.
strong woman. And I love that you are embracing your love of art and combining it with therapy.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really fun.
Cool thing and such
Mhm.
a great way to honor who you are and what, I love
Mm.
it. And you're an amazing mama to 4 boys that
Sometimes. Not always amazing, but always trying and always seeking repair when I make the wrong choice. So yeah.
are obsessed with Thurston. I always hear about Thurston. So
Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it. Absolutely. That their little class is super cute. I wish that I wish that it hadn't been the pandemic this year because I feel like we would have all gotten together way more, but here we are. Such is the story of 2020. So yeah. Um, I just want to say I see all the same things in you, and you already know this, and I'm sure everyone and their mother tells you this, but I just write back at you like you have a unique story that everyone lives, and you have the unique opportunity of inspiring and encouraging and loving on other people who walk through the same things as you, and I don't get to do that, because I don't have your story, and same is true for you. You don't have mine, and that's kind of the beauty of it. So
that's what this whole thing is about, is that we all have these like crazy stories of truths that we've lived that have made us into the person that we are. And I think like, you see these people in the store or in the halls, or you see them on Facebook, and I just want to connect. That's it. And just give people a place to share their truth and hope that somebody out there that's listening to your story is going to say, I need her in my life. Right.
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Make everything so wonderful for you too to be able to help out others. So
Thank you. You know what? I was going to say, that makes me think, I think one of the reasons why it's so important for you to be doing this, and I think it's so amazing to create a platform for people to connect, is because I think when we endure hard things in our stories, we feel it makes us go like shrink in, and it feels very isolating because it's not everyone's story, So that's a really hard place to be, which is why we need that kind of connection all the more. So I love what you're doing, and thank you for doing it.
well, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And thank you everybody to watching this episode. I know that everybody's just gonna be just so touched by it, and you are just so inspiring. So thank you for being you. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great day.